I have had just the two most existential days, and part of me thinks that these days were necessary. I also know that these days were necessary, but I'm basically not pent up. I'm allowing myself to rest in a beautiful space and just chill the fuck out because my brain has literally been going into overdrive, like overactive, overthinking, existentialism. And I couldn't really explain the things I've been thinking about, and I've been trying to, and I've probably posted a few videos throughout the last couple days because I feel like something is actually shifting for me. And sometimes I need like an extreme moment or situation to kind of like zap into reality, like, okay, this is something we're moving away from. And that's what these last couple days has been. And I think I have gotten really comfortable being a bit of a mess, but I haven't gotten comfortable yet with accepting that the messiness is like not that big of a deal, and that it's like okay and allowed and like part of who I am. And I think I've been wanting to use video as a medium to kind of like, I have this with writing a lot, and I think I don't know much about chakras and stuff, but my voice chakra, or like my expression chakra through communication, is limited and blocked, and I've felt that probably since I was a kid, which is why that I specifically enjoy YouTube and the internet and like just talking to camera content, in terms of like me actually facing that and like figuring out what the fuck causes that blockage and actively exploring that resistance, because that's all what it is for me. Like I love just exploring things and figuring out like how to conquer things, but it's not even really a conquer. It's just like a conquer makes it feel so like we're at war. It's where I don't feel like I'm at war ever. I just feel like it's like something that I'm aware of, that I noticed, that I want to explore deeper. And the last few days I've been existential, and I'm like, okay, word, like low-key I've been blessed with like a comfortable space to like have a meltdown. And the whole time like I could be like telling myself that I should be doing something else, but sometimes you just need to have a meltdown. And I've learned that. I'm 25. I have let myself have a little meltdown, and when I can just do it in my own space without bothering anybody, without, you know, making it a cryptic thing, like that, it's just part of life. Like you have little meltdowns, you have little moments of existentialism, and like being like, okay, what is going on? What is going on? And like I have no idea what's going on. Let it get to the extreme of you like trying to figure out what's going on, and then it gets to that hump where like you're finally over the hill, and then you're like, oh wait, lol, I don't need to know, like you're fine, chill, relax. And that's where I'm at right now. Like I feel like I'm currently crossing the hump of like, no matter how hard I try to think about this, I'm not going to be able to solve it. Like that's just not how things work. You just continue on and you go on with your life. And now that I'm 25, I've had a handful of these moments where like I really think that I can kind of like come to a solution in my brain, or like think of a defined explanation for what happens inside of me and like what happens around me. And like it's just not like that. Like life is not like that. And that's what makes it kind of fun and interesting. And it's also fun and interesting that like you're allowed to just have those days, you know, where like you're like what is happening? What am I even saying? As somebody that is like really attached to kind of narratives around discipline and excellence and whatever, and I've made videos about this in the past, and like me exploring like what that means for me, and like wanting to be the best version of myself and really live life to the fullest and enjoy everything, while also being like solid in the fact that like, yo, we're just here to fucking hang out and vibe, like, and love people. It's really what it is always. And like back in like the zoom out, your speck on earth thing, like how do I get to the root of what my soul wants here? Don't know what that means, but for me it's all just experimenting, right? And it's always a relief when I remember, because I can make it such a big deal in like a cryptic thing all the time. It's a relief when I'm like, oh wait, yo, like you can just go and lay in the grass all day and read a book all day, and like you're allowed to do that because you have free will, and like that's, you have the time, the energy, resources, and ability to do that, and there's no one telling you that you can't do that. And all of my constraints or limitations or expectations are things that I've defined for myself. And this is something I've experienced since I was literally 7 years old. I didn't have parents that put a lot of pressure on me to like get straight A's. I put that pressure on myself. I was a competitive gymnast. I didn't have my parents down my back like wanting me to be the best. I put that on myself. I don't even think, I mean, I'm sure I had coaches that were kind of guiding me into the direction of like excelling at what I was doing and really building my skills and being good. But all of the pressure to succeed and excel at things has always come from myself. It's like something I put on myself. So I think a lot with like ambitious, high achieving people, there's just going to be natural eras where there are no metrics or evidence necessarily for that success, and you can feel successful without having the external validation of like, okay, you have the numbers to prove that you did something right, or like you did something well, or you did something the best, you know, and or there's anything that proves that you won. But sometimes I do feel like I prove that I'm to myself that I'm winning. Like I feel that inside of me, but I don't have like the external validation to kind of like have other people think that. And I don't even really need other people to think that, which is the crazy thing. And that, which is like really the disconnect between like what I was just saying, is that like I put the pressure on myself. And if I'm not looking for the external validation of like metrics of what success means, and I'm not really building my life path upon like things that are predefined, like I am comfortable knowing that I want to live in like an unconventional life, and I want to do things my way, and I want to create and build things in ways that make sense to me and like the people around me, not about like what other people say or like what society says is the right way to live. So knowing that, I find it interesting that then I still look for some type of like validation. And now that I think about it, it's not the external validation. For me, it's about tangibleness. I'm very conceptual. I'm very in my head, and I'm very good at overthinking, and I'm very good at like having a strategy or concept or like vague explanation as to why I feel a certain way or think a certain way or choose to do a certain thing. And I really appreciate physical, tangible things that I can hold for that reason, because everything is kind of like very much in the feeling art, like ideation space for me. Not even art. The art becomes something I can physically, tangibly hold. I think it's more about the ideation, like visual stuff, like vision. I can't speak. Not visual. Vision and ideation. Like, because I feel like so much of like, I'm not articulating this clearly. So much of what I see exists in my mind, and on a day-to-day basis, when I'm doing the actions that kind of like translates those ideas into reality, I feel consistently exposed to building something that doesn't exist yet. And until there is some type of like external validation of like, oh, you did something right, I don't have a tangible thing that I could hold that really anchors my perception or ideas in the real world. It's very much like in my work, in my laptop, in my journals, in my mind, in my moments of expression. And I don't really know what that entails yet. It's just something I've noticed. Like, I think for me it's less about external validation and more about like me validating things myself. And it should be validation enough to be like, you put the thing out and you said something real and you tried your best. Like, what else is there to do? Like, you had fun with it in the process. But I still kind of am observing what it feels like to like see value in having tangible results as well that I can hold and that I can quantify and that I can be like, LOL, yes, congratulations, you were right. But the thing is too, and like I know I probably sound crazy, but like everything that has happened in my life so far, I have so much evidence that proves that I predict things. And I don't predict things like in a way where it's like, oh, like you're like woo woo or like seeing the future. I just make decisions that lead into a direction. And like when I'm young, like I can think of myself 5 years ago based on where I'm at now. I didn't know that each of those decisions was getting me to the direction. I didn't even know the exact definition of the direction I wanted to be in, but I did know like a certain vague context of like, this feels right for me. And I don't have answers as to why. This is just like what I think, and that's like intuition. Duh. Everyone knows this. And because like kind of like the narrative of being delusional and following your dreams and all these things is marketed very, very extensively, I hesitate to kind of like call things delusion or like call things seeing the future, or like I don't like just getting what you want out of life. Like I don't know. But for me, it's just kind of like trusting the instinct that day. And when, like, as an artist or a writer, like, your work is self-indulgent by nature. Like, that is the whole thing. Like, you are exploring yourself, you're exploring your experiences and your environment, and, like, you're taking all that information and processing it and then, like, generating some type of outcome that then, like, translates to your actions in the real world, translates into the art you make and the things that you have to say. So, like, low-key, I think what the point of me talking about this and, like, the whole point of me reaching over this hump of my existential 2 days is that, like, because I'm self-indulgent by nature in the sense of, like, making my work and, like, working on the art, I never want to lose touch with the reality of, like, my day-to-day, like, this is what's real to me, and, like, this is what I love, and, like, this is real people that I love and can hold, you know? And, back to the validation, I'm hopping around, and it probably doesn't make sense, but whatever, even if it doesn't, like, it's just whatever. Numbers help with that for me, because it, like, brings whatever ether conceptual ideation in my mind stuff, and it brings it down to the real world, to something I can hold. And I also never want to be dependent on that, in the sense of, like, that's why it's magical. Like, the magic of life and, like, all of, like, love and beauty and connection and spirit and all these things that are so interesting to me are not tangible. Like, those are things that you explore different levels of consciousness, different levels of, like, your relationship with God or the universe or spirituality or the fucking atoms in the moist sky. Like, that's why they exist in that way. And it's, at least that's what I'm considering and exploring. Like, that's what I'm thinking about, is, like, you don't have those answers, and you can't demand for them to then, like, be translated into, like, a quantifiable number that, like, makes sense for human mind and human time. I guess I'm just, like, learning about spirituality and, like, learning about what it is that I do. Like, learning how to be a person. I think I have, like, a fear of being really out of touch, in the sense of, like, I get too much in my own perception of things, because I really value hearing other people's perspectives, and I really value nuance, and I value the fact that, like, multiple things can be true, and, like, everyone has a different perspective, and, like, at the same time there are certain, like, universal truths to an extent. And I think a lot of my frustration or, like, suffering, maybe, like pain, comes from that fear of like figuring out where the balance is between letting myself trust my instinct and like think about it my way, while also not letting myself go too far off into the realm of like me being stuck in my own mind. And I think that's why I also enjoy the tool of the internet, because it exposes me to that, and it like forces me to face that a little bit, and it like forces me to take the moment of like me being in my own mind and then like articulate it to somebody else, and then have it exist outside of me for a moment, even if no one watches it. Then I can go back and look at it and be like, okay girl, like, yeah, low-key you're crazy, or like low-key you're being like too selfish in that moment, or low-key like good job, like that you processing that and you like working through that is what got you to the next step and like helped with the resistance of that experience. I just think that the old, like for me, I always move towards simplicity, and I that sounds hypocritical going through like me just talking for 16 minutes about literally nothing, but I move towards simplicity because I love this stuff. Like I love it, and I love that I don't know, and I always come back to like the truth of like, I know that I know nothing, and I know that everything I know will eventually be disproven. Like it's all me just like experimenting and exploring with the information that I collect. And because that, and I that's why I'm like collecting. I didn't grow up in a religious household, but like I have been collecting so many moments of just like such sharp, truthful evidence of like God being real, or like some type of interconnected experience resonating for me. And because of that, like I just know it's like not up to me really, you know, like I'm just kind of doing my thing and have like just having fun with it. And yeah, like moving towards simplicity just helps ground me in that way, because like I can let it go too far in the sense of like, I want to make art and I want to write things and I want to express myself and I want to think about these things and I want to let myself be wrong and I want to experiment and I want to explore new places and new relationships and new people, and like that is what I get off on life. Like that is what I love in life. When I think about like when I'm really passionate about people, my mom will always be like, she's just passionate. That is so true. I feel so passionate about everything, like to a fault. Like everything is interesting to me. Everything makes me excited. Everything makes me curious. And like that is so beautiful and special to me, because I really feel like I find magic out of everything that I do. And like I find magic in every scenario and in every extreme. Like it doesn't matter if it's like the worst possible thing that happened or the best possible thing that happened. Like somehow I will like be able to create something good out of that experience. But that ability sometimes scares me, because like what if it's just like, what if something is meant to just be bad in that moment? It's not meant to like, you're not meant to like figure out how to extract the good out of it or how to extract the magic out of it. Like maybe that thing is just not for you and you should just like let it go and move on. I feel like I continuously allow everything to be for me, and I allow everything to like be of interest and curiosity to me. And it's back to saying like that whole conversation about the master and like being really skilled in your craft and dedicating a lot of time and energy to one specific thing and being really good at it. I have a hard time with that because I'm so interested by everything. But then there's a narrative that like, hey, like maybe if you are interested by everything, you can use that, and you can use that like natural curiosity to then like have that be your one thing that you're excellent at, that you're a master of like exploring all the different things. And I think that's like a lot of what writers do. And I've been writing more. I've been doing little blogs on Substack. I always write in my journal. I just don't know how to write in a way, again, that's not self-indulgent. I don't know how to make videos in a way that's not self-indulgent. I don't know how to like do any type of art, even painting. Like when I was painting a lot, I just got a studio space in LA, so when I go back to LA, I'm gonna be painting more, and I'm so excited. Like I crave painting, like actually, and it's interesting because I feel like I never really had that with painting, but I really crave it right now in this phase of my life. But like back to what I was about to say, like when I took a painting class like a year ago, I realized like I paint things to process things. Like I paint based on like something that I saw, visual ideation that I collected, something that happened internally, and I need to paint it and get it out, and the painting's done, and it's like out of me, just as if I were writing, just as if I were like talking to screen. And I think that is all, like a lot of what being an artist is. I don't know. That's my experience of being an artist so far. So then to me, because it's very like me and like my expression and like my thing that I'm saying, it's still very vague and uncertain to me, like how that translates into like being valuable for the world. And in some abstract way, like I do value or care about providing value to the world, which just makes the whole thing confusing, because it's like, how can you in one moment call it selfish, and then another moment being like, okay, you make for yourself, you don't make with the audience in mind, and if it happens to click for the audience, then boom, that's great. Anyways, my phone's gonna die. I need to print something before I leave here, and I want to take a break from that, so I'm gonna go stop this video right now. I love you. Thank you for watching. I have so much fun with YouTube, and I'm so grateful for it, and nobody really watches them, which is really freeing for me at this point in my life. And I've been talking about fear a lot in this video, and I think one of my fears is that one day I'll look back on things and be like, you are insane, why did you say that? And I know I'm not insane. And even when I like talk in a way that feels very like raw and crazy, like I trust my ability to kind of like get my like hold it together when necessary. And I just love, I reach like a level of flow state with writing, painting, and this, specifically YouTube, where I'm talking for 22 minutes, that if I let myself talk for 22 minutes, I feel like I did something, in the sense of like the dots connecting almost. And even if I don't have like a cohesive thought or like a cohesive thesis to come out of like, hey, like now I have a title for this video, I feel like I allowed it to come out of my body. And that's the whole thing with art. And I'm talking in circles, and I always do talk in circles, but I just am really grateful for that. And I'm grateful that like I have gotten to a point in my life where I don't give a fuck. Like I really don't care if, you know, people don't receive that, because like it's really just, this is for me, you know. And I've always loved documenting things, and I've loved documenting specifically like a way that I see the world at a specific point in time, because it's just all interesting to me, and I love tracking the patterns, and it's just awesome. Thank you. I love you.